All right, it is day 5 of the fall 2025 Daniel fast. And just wanted to talk a little bit about a heart for the city. And I think sometimes we can be so inundated with our own stuff, our own ambition, our own goals, our own trying to level up, our own dealing with stress and suffering and all the things that we deal with, that sometimes we are so self-centered and self-focused that we stray away from the reality that Jesus has called us to be others-centered and others-focused. Where do we get that? Well, that's the model that Jesus gave for us. It's a model he left for us, is that he gave his life for people that weren't even thinking about him. Wasn't concerned about self-preservation, wasn't concerned about what he deserved, wasn't concerned about his own ambition, but was concerned about reaching people with the hope that he could give them. So that's what we're going to focus on a little bit today. Just want to encourage you also from a fasting standpoint to finish strong. The fast is over at midnight tonight, but I don't want you to start counting down, meal planning, and all that kind of stuff. I want you to take it all in. I want you to continue to read and meditate on your word. I want you to actually take the day 5 curriculum and spend some time going over the reflection questions with intentionality, and even sharing your answers by text or something, or take a screenshot of the answers if you're writing in person and send them to somebody and say, hey, this is what I got from today's Daniel Fast reflections. What did you get from it? Or, how are what are your thoughts? And then of course, I want you to begin to pray that God would cultivate a heart for us individually and collectively as a church to want to continue to make inroads in doing work for our city. We've already made some major strides into leaning into brokenness that exists around us and through some of our outreach stuff, and the opportunities are endless for God to use us to do some incredible things to making our city, pushing back the darkness that exists in our city. So yeah, finish strong. Make sure you're reading, make sure you're praying, make sure you're drinking lots of water. I know I kind of get a second wind when I know the end is coming. Yesterday for me personally started off strong and then had just a bunch of things come at me personally, and kid being sick and just life stuff crashed in on me yesterday. And sometimes when I'm fasting and things start crashing in, things are a bigger deal than what they really are, because I don't have my usual things that I run to for comfort. And every time that happens, I am reminded of why I fast and just how much I depend on the grace of God, because my natural instinct when I'm overwhelmed is to run to things that bring comfort: food, sports, watching sports, and of course the Lord. He's on there. But when I only have the Lord to run to in times of distress, and I can't run to food and sweets, and I can't run to other things that kind of distract me from the moment, it is still an area that I can grow in, where I don't need anything else. I just need the Lord to help me through this. And the Lord was just so gracious to me last night and really kind of helped me work through some of that stuff. And the prayer call was great, to just remind my spirit, like, God's got this. This is just a little blip in the week. It ain't even that big of a deal. It ain't no deal in the grand scheme of eternity and what God ultimately is going to do in and through my life. So anyway, heart for the city. I'm going to read this very quickly for you. Matthew chapter 9, 36 through 38 says, when he was Jesus, when Jesus saw the crowds, Jesus had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. When we talk about taking new ground, this is definitely an aspect of it, that there are people all around us that are just hurting and broken in abusive relationships, in jobs that have them running on the hamster wheel of life, chasing after an American dream that has, really for a lot of people is not even a thing that can be attained, looking for love and satisfaction and peace and joy in all the wrong places, places that will only leave us empty and in some cases leave us in bondage, and definitely can pull us off track from the main focus of our lives, which is to pursue Christ, to believe and share the gospel, to be engaged in discipleship, and to be seeking to be a light in our communities, the places where God places us to live, work, and play. And so this city has a lot of brokenness in it. You can see that in the chart or in the fast guide. Just a few statistics about that. I love Houston. It's a great city, but there is definitely a seedy underbelly to the city. There's any kind of vice you want to get into, you can find it in Houston. Any kind of debauchery you want to get into, you can find it right here in Houston. And even for those that aren't into that kind of stuff, there's still broken families and addiction and purposelessness and greed. And I mean, there's anything you see in the Bible is present in a huge city like we live in. And so I want us to be, especially as we're looking at more ways of breaking into the darkness. We started transitional housing. We're trying to grow this summer leadership program to really expand even more outside of Shine. We have a great opportunity through those vehicles and also through our furniture bank, which is not doing so well at the moment. But then also, what are the other things that God has called us to do and reach and to grow and expand? And there's so much that we can do, but we got to start with our own hearts, praying and asking God, would you give me a heart for people genuinely outside of my own household? Would you give me a heart of compassion for lostness in the community? Give me a heart of compassion to want to push back the darkness that exists in the city that I love. And then we pray on top of that. We then ask the Lord to continue to raise up workers that will be faithful in being the light outside the four walls of the church. He said the harvest is ripe. There's so much opportunity to not just do good in the community, but do an eternal work in the lives of men and women who are struggling right now. There's so much opportunity, but we have to pray. We can't do it all. Pray that God will continue to build up faithful disciples that will want to be engaged in more than just seeing my family comfortable and getting a bag and driving a nice car and being comfortable with my living situation. Like we are called to do so much more than that. That's where life groups come in. Good place to get trained and equipped and to get that heart cultivated and to even just be a part of building up a stronger army of people that can go out collectively and individually and push back darkness, is part of what life groups afford for the local church. So again, I am excited about what God is doing in this fast. I know on a personal level, we started off in the beginning of the week talking about yokes being destroyed and being set free and delivered and walking in that. I'm excited to hear what God is doing, even the ways that God is working behind the scenes. Some of these things that we're praying for now, the manifestation of it, the visual result of it will come in the next days, weeks, months. We'll be able to see some of that stuff. And I'm excited to hear and to already know that God has been moving powerfully in people's situations. Shout out to the prayer team who has been faithfully going, knocking on the doors of heaven on behalf of this church every night at 8:30. We also have prayer call tonight at 8:30. So if you want to just listen in, you want to pray out loud on the call, you're welcome to do that. If you want to just listen in, you're welcome to do that as well. Every night I feel like I hear more people jumping into the call. So please, ma'am, please, sir, jump in there. It's a great way to start winding down your fast. 8:30 tonight, jump in the prayer call, join our faith together, and believe God to continue to do some great things in our lives, but also in our mission to reach the city. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.